So what we're going to talk about is conditions of working with your own power. You've got the power because you're a social worker or whatever profession you belong to. We want you to understand that there has to be an acknowledgement of power imbalance between you and the client. Client comes to you with vulnerability. I was just now in a meeting with someone where I was a client and I felt vulnerable for no reason. Then, because I have the awareness and I have the skills in education already, in spite of my vulnerability in the last 10 minutes in the meeting, I could impress upon him what my need is and how it must be done. Not every client can come to such a level of assertiveness, but vulnerability will also assertiveness. If you have tried a couple of times before and nothing happened, even a client, a poor client, first time you meet him, he won't take his hand up. Second time you meet him, he won't do anything else. Third time you meet him, because you are a landlord, he hold his hand and says, back off. Have you not seen that? You would see that simply when you irritate somebody. Just like that, when you're bullying, when it starts with a little bit of irritation, pushing you or whatever it is. You don't mind it. Second time it happens, you don't mind it. Third time it happens, you really feel like bouncing that person. So vulnerability can also allow you to come out of vulnerability, almost like a snake and snap at the other person. We do not need to make anybody reward in vulnerability. Does not mean that we want to put them in vulnerability to help them. Once we recognize that a person is vulnerable, what we probably need to do is ensure that he comes out of vulnerability in an assertive way, but not in an aggressive way. There's a difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness. A minute ago, I was also told that I was aggressive. So what would have happened for me today is that my entire coping system must have been pushed down so badly that I had nothing else to do than to act. So this is how you need to understand. Don't push somebody in vulnerability to that real corner. If you do that, it will become a problem. What we need to do is to ensure that the individual is helped simultaneously to build their assertiveness. Yesterday we saw this cycle, you remember? And you saw the competency cycle as well. Now we will be looking at what we would call the solution focused issues, solution focused practice. The solution focused practice is concerned in a way with how solutions work rather than how problems work. When you have a headache, would I want to know how much of headache, how the headache is impacting you? Or do I want to know when you take aspirin or any other tablet, how quickly the headache has gone away? What am I evaluating? If I am evaluating the effectivity of the tablet to tablet, then I will give you those tablets and ask each of you in how much time you lost weight. But perhaps before that, in order to come to that stage, if I had to do medical studies to find out how long a headache can go on, then it's a different area. Please understand, problems also must be studied. If problems are not studied, solutions cannot be found. But don't overstudy the problems. Study just go to find the solution. What do I need? I need the light. Put the switch on, the light comes. Ask a child, where does the milk come these days? He says, from the packet. In fact, I'm not sure how many of you know where the milk comes from. Whether it's cow milk or buffalo milk, we don't know because it's in a packet. Many of us don't know what is pasteurization as a process. Milk is cold, milk is hot, milk is powdered, milk is bottled, and then milk is milk in a plastic bag. So a child's innocence thinks of a plastic bag. Mother's knowledge will help him to understand it comes from cow. An excursion to the zoo or to where the cows are will help him to understand these are the cows. Still he can't understand, but where does the milk come from, Mama? Milk comes from milking. But nobody is milking, the machine is milking. So the child's ability today is completely changed as a result of technology from the time you would have seen milk being actually milked with a milkman coming and doing milking of the cow. Has anybody seen milking cow without machine? You have to. Have you all seen anybody? Have you seen milking without machine? How many of you have seen milking with machine? Nobody. Milking with machine is generally done in dairy farms. Sometimes if the machine is kept for a bit too long, red blood also goes into it. That's one reason why a lot of people don't consider milk to be vegetarian. And once they start seeing what is happening in the milk industry, they become vegetarians or they become vegans. So vegan is the extreme form of even leaving milk, diet and all these products. Because technically, milk is non-vegetarian because it's a product of the animal. So that's the way it is. So what we are talking about issues, when issues are there, when problems are there, what you can do is identify what needs to be different from the issues. I have issues today. I have presented the issues. They are not clever people with whom I was talking. So they asked me, so what do you want? That also I had to present. So I presented that. And then they asked me, have you done this, have you done that? I said, yes, I eliminated, whatever I had to eliminate. Then they said, done, because at the end of the day, this is for the good of the state and everything else. Anyway. So, having done that, what needs to be different? I want my present situation to improve. My daughter once had, in an exam, she expected some good marks like 49.5 or something, or 15. And for some strange reason, she got 42 or 43. Can you imagine, in that country, to that precision you can go and ask the head or the teacher concerned, why did you give me 42? I should be expecting 50 out of 50. They have to reason out and give all the explanation. 4 pages say, 40-page explanation, because you have to satisfy a student as to why those marks are not being given. Believe me, the one who marked, probably marked quite carefully at that time and gave 42. But marks are subjective. And to preserve that subjective decision, she has written 40 or 44 pages of essay. You should have done this, you should have done that, you should have referred to this philosophy, you should have referred to that philosophy. My daughter wrote one-line reply to the 44 pages. Hey, wait a minute. Have you ever done this yourself? She wrote to the teacher. Teacher means professor. And then she marked that to the head of the department, saying to her, she's a law student by the way. Have you ever done it? The head hit his head and he said, who are you in the first place? Didn't you pay enough attention and then go into a defensive of 44 nonsense pages? All are lawyers, right? Head is a lawyer, lecturer is a lawyer, student is a lawyer. The head is asking, why under the sun have you written something like this? So in defense, sometimes, society also builds up a whole lot of pressures to cover up one wrong. We got to see that that sort of approach is not open to anything. So that means vigilance on our part is an important thing when you are going to identify what we would call how solutions have to be found. So for that, anticipation of how problem works is needed. What was the problem in the student case? The problem was, should the student ask me, why only she got 42? Am I prepared? Do I have a defense? Do I need to wait until she asks? Have I got a criterion already to give 42? Can I be so stupid to just put 42 here, 44 here, 39 here and think that the legal student will keep their mouths? You couldn't. You got to have criteria explained. After all, that's what you are teaching them. So, should only they be prepared like that? An intelligent client will also ask you that. So you have to be always prepared and always be vigilant in our professions. So, when you identify the strength of the person concerned, hope starts developing. When hope starts developing, plans and various other things emerge. Today I left with one student who wanted to do PhD at this point of time. Some additional thoughts of working for a while and then trying to do PhD. I've also left with somebody else some thoughts, additional thoughts, of just wanting to become a policeman. I asked, why not? If you want to become a policeman, become an IPS officer. I even told her that I'm really type of person who got clear that they were vanished. Okay, I told them, go and do maybe IAS. Change things, change things. Only to make them think there are alternatives which may be different. Planning the steps for that is also important, and then come to alternatives. Remember, planning is not on one activity. Planning is on different options, and then weighing the pros and cons in the whole process. So that's what you need to be doing. So solution-focused practice is concerned with how solutions work rather than how problems work. Knowing what will be different if I give you a respite, a lady to come and look after your children once in a while when you are stressed out is important for me to know. That is as far as that case was concerned. So, listening to people, their stories, developing a picture of the future, identifying their strengths and expectations, if there are any resources that are required, mobilizing their strengths, reviewing and evaluating. Why do we need to review every time? Who is that? To know the progress. Absolutely correct. We need to know the progress. Otherwise you will not know. A review is for progress. So how do we help our clients in collaborative planning? We help in collaborative planning through adding new strengths and new capacities. I don't give you actually new strengths. Our physical exercise director is not here today, but she has, she's very much there. Okay. So she has added a new dimension to our training. That is, when we are a little bit stressed out because of too much of intellectual stress, we need a little bit of physical activity. Diversion. Go out, stand up, sit down, whatever that needs to be done. People have their own resources. They can get some community resources. There are some specialist resources. What are the specialist resources? You got an intellectually disabled child. You've got to go to a psychiatrist. You've got to go to a hospital. That will be the specialist resources. If that circle or those four circles are clear, then we would say empowerment process takes place. On what foundations are we working? We are working on self-determination. An individual will decide what is right, what is wrong. How can he decide? Unless we help him. He can decide what is the help that we can give. We can give the help of education, material, show him this and that. Nowadays, on the TV, ads come up, insurance ads. Compare policies, policy bazaar. Okay, the same advertisement in America, Australia, everywhere. Because these are available there, all you do is translate. And somebody says, how can we have a good future? Take life insurance. Somebody wants to give a good respect to a life insurance agent. Father is driving in a car, the children are talking, and one son, a son of the father who is driving the car, tells his son, Anil's father is a life insurance agent. It's supposed to be agent is a small job. This father says, very good, he is helping all of us. That means he is respectfully treating that profession while driving his BMW. Right? He does not want. Then, when a father of an LIC agent hears that, his eyes twinkle in that advertisement. He feels that there is some kind of samanata that has come about. I don't know whether you've seen these ads or not. I see these things because I see India's progress in attitudes when I see on TV, whenever I watch whatever I watch. Regard for human rights. I think sometimes when we use the word human rights, there is a tendency for people to misunderstand us as if we are leftists or leftists alone. So maybe what you should possibly be describing them as, don't use the word human rights. We are already human. So just talk about what it is. So without using the word human rights, how can you talk about human rights? Tell me. People with disabilities. Tell me, how can I talk about people with disabilities without human rights, without using the word human rights? Why are we narrowed down on human rights, UNDP language, SDGs, nonsense, nonsense, and nonsense? I'm being recorded, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Why? Why? United Nations language is not useful for us. Our language is useful for us. UNDP, all these stamps that we have got, we say, all these rubbish stamps, they're Western templates. They don't fit into us. We have to build our own. Jugaad karo, copy a little bit here and there if you want to, but build a culturally sensitive template of our own. They will say anything that we would want. Okay. So what is it that will help us? If I don't want the word rights perspective, if I don't want to use the word human rights of the disabled population and still talk about rights, what should be the way in which I should eliminate the word rights and still use the disability and bring the same concept? You can drink water in the meantime. Alright? Tell me. Anybody can try, any other expert can try. I have got experts in front of me, 3 of them.
Equity. Should I ensure equity? Equity.
Equity, okay, equity. Equity between who and me? I mean, you got a man without leg and a man with leg, how is it equitable?
Like, we can replace the word human rights. We have to ensure that the person should get an equity on the basis of what means lack of.
Yeah, almost close to that. Instead, I will even dilute it, make it small. Care for persons with a disability. Care. Not much noise like human rights. Inside we put anything that you put. Put the right words inside. Do not orchestrate the word right. Do it rightly. So, agitate without using the word agitation. What are you doing? Are you taking the position? No, we are just going, okay. And how are you going? Oh, we're just going in a group, okay. And how do other people know that you are doing something? Oh, we're just going to have a small placard. Oh, I see. If you would have said in the first instance, we are taking placards with all those things written down on it, then they will tell you, do you have a police permission to go on the road with these placards? So it's the camouflaging of the language. Chameleon is not the word from which camouflaging comes, but chameleon changes colors according to the place where it is sensitive. Yeah? If it is on a tree, it does grow green, and it is among flowers, it does not become yellow color or sunflower color chameleon I have not seen, but some natural green, black, brown, so that you don't identify. And you touch it and then it grabs you. It can come. So camouflage means color it. So the uniforms of some of our military people in most countries have got all that green, black and everything, so that if you are sleeping down, you can't figure out what is happening. Why is 10-place practice? With the idea of inclusion and participation. That's what we want to do. Right? So, and then of course transparency. Transparency is the most important thing. And I have suffered transparency thoroughly now. So I know how much it is important. And transparency in decision making is important. Transparency in communication is important. Transparency is healthy. It shows your red blood corpuscles are working properly. If people are transparent, they look healthy and they will cause happiness. Over a period of time you will learn these statements. So sharing of resources, skills, strengths, knowledge, information, ideas and expectations. So I would be kind of talking, this is the last slide for the day, just to cover it up for you. The whole idea about empowerment is mobilization of the skills. The whole idea about the clients is connected with exploring all their aspirations. Aspirations are motivations behind their intention. So that is how we need to see it. And a whole lot of motivation by itself will result in rewards after. You aspire, you get, then you get a reward. So motivation is a cycle of aspiration and a reward. If you just have motivation at the end, I am motivated to buy a banana. And my question would be, did you buy one? No, I am motivated. So you remain motivated, banana will become black, turn into a different color altogether. So then it's about adding your expertise to the clients, but not completely taking over the clients. It's about self-determination, and it is about overcoming the constraints.